Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. This week, the desk isn't at the home studio that I use to film. We're at the Cleveland County Democratic headquarters, party headquarters is where we are, and we're with Mary Brannon, who is running for House District 4, U.S. House District 4, against Tom Cole, the upcoming election. So that's what our interview is this week. Our interview with Mary Brannon. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
It's very nice to meet you in person,
to
see you,
Mm-hmm.
and discuss with you maybe a little bit about your campaign, a little bit about your political stances, and some of what's going on out there right now in the world and how we kind of see it. So first, we'd like to talk, one of the things we wanted to talk about was getting people to register to vote, I suppose, and you had some information on there that you wanted to share with everybody.
Yes, I'm a retired school counselor, and I want you to know that we have got to get Democrats to vote. And this year, you can vote online. All you have to do is go to iwillvote.com and register. It's as easy as it can be. We have got to get rid of direct party voting, because what Republicans do is they color in that R at the top of the ballot, not knowing what's underneath it. This Republican Party is no longer the party of Eisenhower and Lincoln. It is now the party of Trump and greed. And there are people who vote Republican. My daddy was a Republican. My grandfather was a Republican. And by golly, I'm a Republican. They don't understand they are voting to cut their own Social Security and all the other items that Republicans are doing now.
So you say you're a Republican, but you're registered as a Democrat, or how does that?
No, I used to be a Republican until Republicans went crazy. And now I don't recognize that party. So now I'm a Democrat, and I will always be a Democrat because the Republican Party is no longer the party of Lincoln and Eisenhower.
No, it's not. It's changed quite a bit. Now, something else we wanted to talk about was the gerrymandering. So Oklahoma has been, we know it's been gerrymandered. We absolutely know it is. When you see this, what they call the spoke, this all started with down in Texas, down in Austin, Texas. If you want to look at that, it spokes out. All the districts do from Austin. And that's kind of what they did with Oklahoma, though it doesn't look like a wheel spoke like you would think, but almost every district in Oklahoma goes through the heart of Oklahoma City. That's a way to gerrymander out the Democratic votes. And that's exactly what they did, especially in the U.S. House seats. And, you know, they've done it with the state, Senate, and representative seats as well. So,
let me show you what gerrymandering looks like. This is Jim Jordan's district. You can tell if he can't get the votes, they go around it. Republicans only win if they cheat. And Kendra Horn was elected, and they couldn't have that happen again. So they carved up her district, and now no Democrat can win.
Yeah, they pretty much they went out further east into the rural areas of Lincoln County, even down, I think mostly Lincoln County, some maybe Pottawatomie as well, and took in a lot more rural, more conservative areas so they can make sure that to keep that District 5, anyway, House District 5, Republican. That's exactly what they did.
Voters don't pick their candidates anymore. The candidates pick their voters.
That's exactly what happened. So, yeah, the Speaker of the House, I call him Chuck McCall, he got together with Ryan Martinez, who's no longer there, and had Ryan Martinez just gerrymandered the heck out of the state of Oklahoma, and it worked. And I'm surprised nobody's actually fought against the gerrymandering they did here, because it's pretty egregious, if you ask me. I mean, when Chuck McCall comes out and they say, hey, didn't you gerrymander this? This looks like it's gerrymandered. He goes, oh, you know, what's the thing they have in common? They all speak Spanish. Wait a minute, you know, you just said you racially gerrymandered this, which is illegal. If he would have said, oh, yeah, we absolutely gerrymandered it along political lines, that's actually legal. But, you know, the thing is, he actually came out and said, yeah, we did it across racial lines. I can't believe anybody didn't actually challenge him in court on that, or challenge her.
It's very expensive to challenge.
It's very expensive.
Them.
That's why.
Most people, you go through the process and you just run out of money.
Yeah, you run out of money. That's probably it right there. So here we go, the gerrymandering, and if you can register to vote, the iwillvote.com. It's easy to register. They made it easy in Oklahoma. There's one thing there's a bonus plus good news right there is easy to register to vote in Oklahoma. So let's go on and talk about, now we've got the voting out of the way, let's go down to another issue that you wanted to talk about, and that was our healthcare situation in the United States of America and in Oklahoma too. So what do you have to say about that, Mary?
Veteran care is close to my heart. My brother did 2 tours in Vietnam and always proudly served, but he came back dying. He was eaten alive by Agent Orange and died a slow, painful death. On his deathbed, I told him I would keep the VA from going private and closing all the VA hospitals, which is exactly what the Republicans want to do. They made Tinker private for their base maintenance, and they painted over mold. They disturbed asbestos tiles. The kids are breathing that. And they also had never-ending wait list. Now, if there was still a elected official, you could say, you either help us or we will campaign for your opponent next election. But what happens is, by the time you call, they say, oh, that's not us, that's the vendor. Call the vendor. Oh, that's not us, that's our subcontractor.
Yeah, so the third party.
So there's all this finger pointing. Meanwhile, kids are still getting sick. That's why we cannot let the VA close the hospitals, because if they'll do that to base housing, what would they do to our hospitals and our health care?
Well, that's part of the deal, right? So maybe if we hobble it enough, we put enough monkeys in the wrench, so to speak, to mess this up, to make it look bad, and then we can point, oh, hey, look, it doesn't work, let's privatize it. And that's absolutely that's cynicism. That's exactly what the Republicans are doing. They do it with education. They're doing it with our health care. We want to turn it private, so the best way to do that is to show how horrible public works. And how do we do that? Well, we gum up the works to make sure it doesn't. And that's exactly what they do. And you just got to be aware that that's what they're doing, and get people in there like Mary who aren't going to do stuff like that and actually want to see it work. Because that's one of the things, too. If you privatize stuff like we found with schools and everything else, they don't put anything in there for accountability. So
exactly.
There's no accountability. So even if they were to wear a shirt that said, hey, we are fleecing you of tens of millions, absolutely, there's no teeth in there to go after them anyway. So they could actually do that, and you can't even do anything to them.
Anytime you make something private, the price goes up and the quality goes down.
Sure does. Sure does. And then and like I said, they can take tens of millions and take off with them. I mean, look, we can talk about education later in our interview here, but like Epic, they fleeced the state out of tens of millions, didn't have to pay it back. Of course, a couple of guys are going to go to jail for that, but Epic, the charter school itself, gets to keep the money and gets to keep taking the money. So they're still in that business, and they're still doing that. So
let me tell you, the people who want vouchers are not the families. It is the people who get donations from the billions made from vouchers.
Pretty much. It is, and it really is. Going on with the healthcare issue, you talked about you're for single payer, right?
I'm for single payer, and we have got to get insulin affordable. Tom Cole and every other Republican voted against affordable health care and affordable prescription drugs.
Now, we do have something that the president signed, right? There's a bill that did pass on prescription drugs and insulin being $35, or is that just strictly an executive order?
No, it hasn't passed yet, and Langford is fighting it because he gets a bunch of money
from
Big Pharma. And, you can go to Canada and get the same insulin for a tenth of the cost. You know how come? Because Canada says you either sell it at this price or you can't sell here. They don't have their elected officials owned by the people who are trying to make the money. For every one elected official in Washington, Big Pharma has 3 lobbyists.
Yeah.
3.
Wow, for every one of them. That's a lot. But they have the money to do that. So that's what it all, the oligarchy is strong. That's what that means.
Democrats passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which lowered healthcare costs, gives Medicare the power to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices, cap insulin costs at $35 per month for Medicare beneficiaries.
So if you're a Medicare beneficiary, your insulin cost is $35 per month. Everybody else,
you're stuck.
Yeah.
0 Republicans voted for this.
Zero.
0.
That means that all of our House delegation in Oklahoma, all 5, voted no.
Voted with Big Pharma.
Yeah.
They're donors.
That's exactly what that is. Going on with the health care, we're going to talk about abortions, right? So that's actually a big thing right now. Democrats are winning all over the nation on the abortion issue. It's one of the things that Republicans, who are usually good at messaging, can't seem to message very well when it comes to abortion. And I think one of the things is the Supreme Court actually throwing it to the states has made it worse for Republicans, because now you get to see the extremism. You get to see the Dusty Devers who wants to have a registry for women who get just not abortions, but just having contraception care. They want to put them in a registry, or he did another one where he wants to arrest women for getting abortion care or even taking the morning after pill.
Here's the thing. If a 10-year-old can't sit in the front seat of a car, then maybe she shouldn't be required to be a mother. You can't ban abortion. You can only ban legal abortion. I graduated high school in 1970, before 1973 Roe v. Wade. Let me tell you, women were dying, girls were dying. Just because you ban abortion doesn't mean they don't still seek them and have them. They just aren't safe. I had an acquaintance in high school, my senior year, I wouldn't say a friend, who had a back alley abortion and almost died and might have not been able to have a child again. We have got to get these Republicans aware of what they are doing. They have people now who have to live with a dead.
Yeah, I think they are aware. I mean, they're running with their heads cut off right now, trying to mitigate this, going, oh wait, we're not, and trying to do things, and then you have some crazy extremists come out with some crazy bill that just kind of like, oh my gosh, So right now they're really having a bad messaging problem with abortion. And it is something that Democrats have just been beating them over the head with for the last 2 years. I think the Dobbs decision has been just a big fiasco for Republicans, actually.
Well, women, they said, some places you can get a court order if it's detrimental to your health. Mm-hmm. Well, in Texas, a lady got a court order, and the doctor said she needed an abortion, and the judge said. And
then Ken Paxton comes along, who's not a doctor.
And she has to go out of state.
Decides not going to do it, yeah. So there are some states that, hey, abortion is legal. A lot of them, actually. Probably a majority, I think, have it illegal. But there are like 19 states where it's just like really strict bans. Oklahoma is definitely one of them.
Oklahoma has a ban that if the mother's going to die, she still can't have an abortion. What happens to those other 3 kids at home?
And they wonder why the state of Oklahoma is dead last when it comes to women. And this is the worst not just state, but even province, because we're like number 51 out of 51 states and territories when it comes to women and their issues. It doesn't just include health care. It also includes equal pay. It also includes equal access to the law, all this stuff. So
they don't want to give women the option for an abortion, but yet they don't want to give them family leave to take time off from their jobs.
No.
They don't want to help them with child care.
Well, even governor came out getting rid of the federal grant, $60 million for lunches in the summertime for kids. That was I thought that was totally cynical. And it was just a big political ploy. He did it based on politics. I'm just doing this so that I don't have to follow what President Joe Biden does. That's the only reason he did that. It's cynicism. It doesn't have anything to do with actual policy he believes in or anything like that. Because I guarantee you, he'd like to feed the children of Oklahoma. This was just a political statement when he came out to do that. That's what makes it so cynical and ugly. And
Kevin Stitt didn't get the funding to feed kids in the summer. I'm a retired school counselor. That might be the only food they get that day.
Yeah.
How can he call himself a Christian when he doesn't want to feed hungry kids? You've got to vote those Republicans out because they are not Christians.
How can you just call him, you're just calling him a moral human being? Where's the morality in what he's doing there? And the other, it's only like 15 other governors. It's not like a major majority of them. But the crazy ones they've banned the food assistance program for the summertime, and it's all out of pure politics. That's all it is.
Exactly.
They're making these kids suffer for a political statement, for
They
a
don't want to
political
give
goal.
Biden
That's
a
it.
win.
Yeah, that's
they
it.
don't want to give Biden
The
a
same
win.
thing with the border. They don't want to give Biden a win there, even though James Lankford was the one who spearheaded the authorism of the Senate bill that everybody's probably heard about.
The border is really sad because as a school
And that's
counselor,
a big issue. The border is actually an issue. We really need to get a handle on it. We do have illegal immigration happening, and we can't have that. We really can't do illegal immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. I want people to immigrate legally. I want them to do the asylum stuff legally. I don't want them to abuse the system, and that's exactly what's happening right now. But that chaos, they feel, serves Trump, right? So that's why
he said that.
Again, cynicism.
Don't pass this bill that everybody agrees.
Because he wants to campaign on it.
He wants to campaign on it. Even the border union said, we like it. Go ahead and pass it. But they didn't pass it because they didn't want Biden to get a win. Let me tell you something. Whenever Trump was there, he separated those kids from their parents. I'm a school counselor.
They don't want America to win. That's all they want. That's all. They don't want America to win. They only want themselves to win. Only the GOP can win. America can't. And that's how they see it in a lot of ways.
And he gave the contract for those kids who were separated, $766 a day to his friend. They could have stayed in the Trump Hotel with a buffet and a fluffy bathrobe, but they didn't, and a lot of them died there. They wouldn't even give them COVID shots. How can these Republicans say they are Christian and they want to go back to the way Trump did it?
Yeah, well, it's all just they're just platitudes that don't mean anything when they say this stuff, because a lot of their voters, and it's a shrinking mass, really. I mean, a lot of them are ignorant. They're not well educated, and they're willing to believe anything anybody tells them. And it's an ego thing. I think in a lot of ways they pumped up these people's egos, so now you can't be wrong. If you're wrong, then that's going to deflate your ego. And so they have to stick with it, even if it isn't true. And some of these people know, I got in a conversation with a conservative talking about Dusty Devers and going, hey, a lot of what he wants to do is against the First Amendment. Yeah. And this guy said, you're probably right. It is against the First Amendment, but I wanted to get us back to being a moral nation. And then I start going, but you're this is moral, this, and this. Well, I'm not that kind of Republican. I said, but these are Republicans, right? That you're taught that aren't moral, but he's the moral one. It's like, no, you can't just individualize it to a group to individual, or individual to a group. And it was kind of like what he wanted to do. So it's kind of like they got to trick themselves in a way, I think, in a lot of ways.
Well, I think that people still have a misconception of the Republican Party. To get anything done in Oklahoma, you have to get a petition and get it on the ballot. And now they're making it harder and harder to get a petition going.
Because I got to look to see if it even made it out of committee. But David Bullard put one in that said you had to have signatures from every county and no more than 7%. Is that one of the things? Yes. Did it get out of committee? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's HB 1150 and HJR 1054.
I don't know if it made it out of committee.
But they're trying to take away our right to put things on the ballots.
Taking away the voice of the people.
Because, if you just color an R, they know these won't pass.
Very authoritarian.
But if you can get it on the ballot, that's how we passed medical marijuana. Yeah. That's how we got Medicaid expansion.
Yep.
They are clamping down on this because they're afraid we're going to be like Kansas, and we are going to get right to choose on there, and it's going to get harder and harder.
So we got just a few minutes left. Let's talk about education.
Let's talk about Social Security.
Social Security? Okay.
Social Security, they're trying to cut. I don't care what they say. We need to take the cap off of what rich people are paying.
Well, somebody came out and did a blunder just this week, or late last week. One of the Republican representatives came out, U.S. representative, and talked about how they wanted to get rid of Social Security and Medicare. And I think also Trump did the same thing. And then there's been a whole bunch of people having to do damage control in the Republican Party about Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, because these Republicans actually came out and said, yeah, we want to get rid of it.
Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. And it is not an entitlement. Entitlements are things like food stamps, Section 8 housing. They are not taxed. Social Security is
Well, it's not only that. Social Security
is an earned benefit.
It's insurance.
It's
That's
an
what it
earned
is.
benefit.
You actually pay an insurance till you're 65, 67, and then you get the benefit. It works fairly close to what whole life insurance would work like. At the end, you get annuities, you can get a payout. And that's exactly what Social Security is. That's what it does. It's insurance. You pay into it, a premium, and then you get a benefit when your time comes to be able to collect on it.
Don't let them call it an entitlement. If it is an earned benefit that you've paid in, that your employer
Same
has
thing with
paid
Medicare.
in. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Now, Medicaid, that may be an entitlement if you actually getting it before. Yeah, that may be. But Medicare and Social Security are not. Those are paid for
Earned
benefits, paid for
not
insurance.
an entitlement. An earned benefit. And when they try to take your earned benefit, they are stealing from you.
Yeah. That's about all we got time for, Mary. Is there anything else? One last minute. Anything else for one last minute?
IWillVote.com. Register. We do not want 10-year-olds to be forced to have a rapist baby.
I think more important than actually registering is actually going to vote. The biggest thing I see, like I ran for city council in my ward, and only 18% of registered voters showed up to vote. So that's the problem. It's not so much getting them registered as getting them to go vote once they're registered. So once you're registered, please be sure to pay attention to the voting times and dates and actually vote. That's
and
probably more important.
We are looking for college people and for high school, because if you turn 18 your senior year, you can vote. You do not want a 10-year-old to have a rapist baby. You do not want your parents' Social Security cut to where they have to come live with you. You need to vote. You need to register to vote. Take a friend.
I think that's all we really have, Mary. Thank you so much. And
Go vote.
And good luck to you on your campaign for U.S. Representative District 4.
Congressional
Right?
District 4. I'm running against Republican Tom Cole. He has $2 million to run against me, and I just have the other 98% who are supporting me. So send money if you can.
Good luck, Mary. Thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me show the problems we need solved.
Good deal. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. This is Across the Desk. And as always, everybody, we'll see you next week.